todos este lunes? ¿Bien? Bien, magnífico. Ok. Hoy es mi aniversario. Hoy es el aniversario. 29 años de matrimonio. Sí, 29. I'm almost up to 30, but I'm not quite there yet. Next year, el año que viene. Ok. Vamos a hacer, y allá va, mi teléfono, perdón. Tengo una cita. I've got an appointment later in the afternoon. It's probably about that. Okay, we're going to ignore that phone. Mejor. Mejor. Sin sonido, without the sound. Vamos a practicar muchísimo con muchas cosas, con objetos directos, con la personal, con muchas cosas. ¿Cuál es un complemento directo? What's a direct object? They call it complemento, complement. Because it's complementary information. We're going to talk about all those things today, how to use it, what little words do, and you know, this is a little words day. They're itty bitty words. But what the itty bitty words mean and where they go is something we need to become comfortable with, because you hear people using these direct object pronouns a lot. You have already heard people using direct object pronouns a lot. But we're going to open with something. Vamos a empezar con un video. Vamos a empezar con un video porque es práctica de escuchar. It's listening practice. Y es fácil. Es casi un juego de adivinar. It's almost a guessing game. I want you to see if you can figure out what these people are talking about from the gist of the conversation. And it will take at least 30 seconds for you to even begin to guess. What are they discussing? Because you're only hearing one side of the conversation. You know, this is like the old comedy routines where you hear somebody talking on the phone. You got to figure out what the heck are they talking about. Y vamos a ver. We're going to see. These botones. I've got to click off all the right buttons so that we get here to the right place. Okay, vamos a ver. And I do have the subtitle. Tengo subtítulos.
Bueno. Hola Ana, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te va? Yo también estoy muy bien. No, estoy leyendo un libro muy bueno. Por cierto, tienes que leerlo. Te va a gustar mucho. Dime, ¿qué pasó? A ver, ¿qué noticia? Cuéntamelo. Ay, ¡qué buena noticia! Vaya, por fin. ¿Cuándo fue eso? Me imagino que debes de estar muy cansada. ¿Y todo salió bien? Ay, me da mucho gusto. ¿Y cuántos tuvo? Son muchos. Vas a estar muy ocupada cuidándolos. Ay, no te preocupes, te voy a ayudar. Ya sabes que a mí me encantan. ¿Y de qué color son? Ay, quiero conocerlos. ¿Puedo ir a visitarte mañana a tu casa? ¿A qué hora? Ay, no puedo. Mañana tengo una reunión por Zoom en la tarde. Vamos a grabar unos videos y necesitamos revisar los últimos detalles. Sí, con Pamela, como siempre. Trabajamos muy bien juntos. solo que no sé a qué hora vayamos a terminar. ¿Puedo llegar a tu casa más tarde? Ay, muy bien. Estoy muy emocionado. Quiero conocerlos. Deben de estar muy chiquitos y muy bonitos.
I want to see if you can guess. What do you think they're talking about? Anybody want to take a wild guess? And you'll have to unmute yourself to do that. He's going to tell pretty soon.
You got puppies or kittens or something?
Ah.
No puedo creer que ya tiene 6 perritos.
I can't believe that you got 6 little doggies.
Mucho gusto que todo haya salido muy bien con Susu. Sí, mañana nos vemos. Adiós. ¿Escuchaste la noticia que me dio mi amiga Ana? Su perrita Susu tuvo 6 perritos. ¿Y tú tienes perritos?
Okay, we're going to stop it at this point. I'm going to rewind it with these subtitles so you can see how often
Hola, Ana, ¿cómo estás?
they use object pronouns. And objects do not do the action of a sentence. They receive whatever is happening with that action. Okay, so he starts out with, hi, Anna, how you doing? ¿Cómo te va? And that little word te, I'm going to point out every time we see an object pronoun. And they might be direct, they might be indirect. That's another subject for another day, because today we're going to talk about direct. But in many cases, some of them are the same. Not all of them are the same. Object pronoun, ¿cómo te va? How's it going for you? The te there means for you. ¿Cómo te va? How's it going for you? Not how are you going, like are you going in a car or in a train or, on foot. How are things going? That's why it's va. How's it all going for you? Te. The te is the for you.
¿Cómo te va? Yo también estoy muy bien. No, estoy leyendo un libro muy bueno.
Yeah, I'm very well. No, I'm just reading a really good book.
Por cierto, tienes que leerlo.
For sure, you have to read it. And the lo, hanging off the end of leer. Tienes que leerlo. You have to read it. The lo, there is an it. And he's referring back to what they were talking about. She said, what are you doing? And he came back with, well, I'm reading a book. And now that, they knew they were talking about a book, he says, you have to read it. We know the word it is referring back to book, right? Okay, so there's the second pronoun.
Te va a gustar mucho.
Marilyn?
Te va a gustar mucho. You're going to like it a lot. Sí, Diana.
Sometimes that the low part is somewhere else in the sentence.
Yes, it is. You are
And
very
that's
smart.
what confuses me when is there a preference? Is there a reason why it's somewhere else, and then it goes somewhere else?
Eres muy lista. You are very sharp. Yes, you have seen it in different places. And most of the time you have seen it in different places.
Yeah.
There are definite rules for where those little words should go. And not the little words themselves, they are not hard, but where they go sometimes can be a little tricky. So we're going to talk about that. Because they do fit into different places. And sometimes, most of the time, there are very definite rules of order, what order those words have to go in. Once in a while, you have some leeway. And having that leeway, like with this leerlo, tienes que leerlo, you do have some leeway where that word lo can go. It could have been lo tienes que leer. But most of the time, it is going to be a set in stone kind of thing where that little word lo has to go. Now we've got a te va a gustar mucho. You're going to like it a lot. And that's an indirect, but that's okay. It's still an object pronoun.
Dime, ¿qué pasó? A ver, ¿qué noticia? Cuéntamelo.
Cuéntamelo. Tell it to me. And the lo, actually two of them, a me and a lo, they're stuck on the end. Now I want you to notice, most of the time, you're going to see the little words like me or te or lo in front of a verb. But once in a while, they get tagged on. Here's where they get tagged on. Cuéntamelo is a command. Cuenta means tell me, like tell me a story. Tell it to me. Tell me about it. When we give a command, we can tag them on the end. When we've got an infinitive that is not conjugated, we have an option to tag it on the end. But otherwise, it's going to be in front of the verb. So I want you to kind of be aware of that. And I'll send you the link for this so that you can kind of deconstruct that and see that. Because when you hear what order those words go in, it's helpful later on.
¡Qué buena noticia! Vaya, por fin. ¿Cuándo fue eso?
What good news. Go on. Wow, at last. When was that? When was that?
Me imagino que debes de estar muy cansada.
Me imagino, that's a reflexive, what it means is I guess, I imagine, it looks like imagine. I imagine that you must be really tired. And did everything turn out okay? Salir means to leave, but in this sense, it means did everything go over well? Did everything turn out? Did everything turn out? Instead of go out, like walk out, did everything turn out well?
¿Y todo salió bien? Me da mucho gusto.
It gives me much pleasure. So he's just saying, I like that so much.
¿Y cuántos tuvo?
And tuvo is a past of tener. How many did she have? And that little word tuvo for a native speaker would have been the giveaway. Because tuvo is a very specific past tense. And it means, it tells somebody an event. Somebody had something. Somebody got something. And in this case, he's talking about an animal birthing something. If you want to say, wow, she had a baby, use that word tuvo. So that word would have been the giveaway.
Son muchos. Vas a estar muy ocupada cuidándolos.
Wow, that's a lot. Son muchos, that's a lot. You're going to be very busy taking care of them. And we've got a los hanging off of an ing, a gerund. The los is hanging off the end.
No te preocupes, te voy a ayudar. Ya sabes que a mí me encantan.
No te preocupes, that's a reflexive, that's okay. Don't worry. He's saying no sweat, don't worry about it. Te voy a ayudar. Te is in front of the verb. Te voy a, I am going to help you. And the te is you receiving the action of helping. Okay? Te voy a ayudar. He could have swung the te onto the end of ayudar. Voy a ayudarte. But he chose just because he felt like it to say that as te voy a ayudar. And that is going to be the kind of word order we're going to work on today. Te voy a ayudar. Literally, you, I'm going to help. That's the word order that they normally are accustomed to. Te voy a ayudar. Ya sabes, you already know. Ya sabes que a mí me encantan. We've got already this many times they've used a pronoun and we're only 1 minute into the conversation.
¿Y de qué color son?
And now here was the next big giveaway. What color are they?
Ay, quiero conocerlo.
I want to meet them, meaning he wants to see them, right? Because, you know, when it's a pet and they have the little puppies, rather than just saying see them, like that's kind of a passive thing. You want to get to know them. And conocer is used for meet. So he wants to see them for the first time, is what he's saying. And the los is tagged on to the end because he's got an infinitive. I want to get to know them, to see them for the first time. He could have expressed this as los quiero conocer, los quiero conocer. That would be a very usual thing in front of the verb quiero, los quiero conocer. But because he's got two verbs working together in an infinitive, he can tag it onto the end. Quiero conocerlos. And now he's going to tag on another one here because he's got an infinitive and he's going to tag on a te.
¿Puedo ir a visitarte mañana a tu casa?
Can I go visit you? Can I come visit you tomorrow at your house?
¿A qué hora?
What time?
Ay, no puedo.
I can't.
Mañana tengo una reunión por
Tomorrow I've got a Zoom meeting
en
in the
la tarde.
afternoon.
Vamos a grabar unos videos.
We're going to record a
y
video, some videos.
necesitamos revisar los últimos detalles.
We need to check out the latest details, the last few details.
Sí, con Pamela.
Yeah, with Pam,
Como siempre.
as always.
Trabajamos muy bien juntos.
We work really well
Solo
together.
que no sé a qué hora vayamos a terminar.
It's just that I don't know what time we might be finishing up.
¿Puedo llegar a tu casa más tarde?
Can I come to your house later on?
Ay, muy bien.
Really good.
Estoy muy emocionado.
I'm
Quiero
excited.
conocerlos.
I want to meet them. I want to meet them, the little baby doggies.
Ay, deben de estar muy chiquitos
They must be really tiny
y muy bonitos.
and very cute.
No puedo creer que ya tiene 6 perritos.
I can't believe that you've
Me
already
da
got 6
mucho
puppies.
gusto que todo haya salido muy bien con Susu.
I love it that everything turned out okay with Susu,
Sí.
the dog.
Mañana nos
Mommy
vemos.
We'll see. Nos vemos. We'll see each other. Nos vemos. We'll see, but we're seeing each other back and forth. Nos vemos. We're doing it to each other. We're seeing each other.
Adiós.
Okay, so that's a little breakdown. And there were, I don't know, probably that's 2.5 minutes, and we have probably almost that many pronouns. So you can see the reason we need to know these pronouns is that you hear them all the time. They are just constantly being used in very normal, everyday situations. So we're going to talk about those object pronouns. Let me get the rest of my screens up here. That is going to be the main thing for the day. And I hope at the end to tag on a little bit. Did most of you watch the video about accent marks as well? When we write in accent marks or when not? I'll take some questions on that towards the end. I want to get into the main body of what we're doing today after that video so that it's, in your mind uppermost. And I'm going to leave to the end. Normally I kind of review first, but I want to leave to the end any questions you have on the cookie reading and the accent mark thing. And we can maybe do a little bit of practice with accent marks, kind of seeing if you know where they go and where they don't. Okay. A ver. Direct objects. Direct objects are funny things. They are, I'm going to pull this up. Oop, I got to pull up the right information. Direct objects sometimes get pronouns. And what is a pronoun? Oh, shoot, we're getting into lots of grammaries. Okay, so all these little words, the me, the te, Later on, you're going to have the word nos. And then we've got lo and la and los and las. All those things are pronouns. Pronouns are just itty bitty short words, and they stand in for something else. Okay. If I want to soak, I'll give you an example. Tomo un café. Tomo un café. I'm having a coffee. Okay. If you were over at my house right now, sitting across the table from me, and tomo un café. And let's say I have the whole coffee pot. Lo quieres, do you want it? You know that the lo is referring back to what I've got in here. I'm having a coffee. Hey, you want it? Okay. Because we're already talking about something, we can refer back to it without saying coffee, 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 coffee. I'm having a coffee. I buy it at Sprouts. The it refers back to coffee, because you don't want to say I'm having a coffee. I buy coffee at Sprouts. Coffee, coffee, coffee. We don't want to keep repeating it. We want to refer back to it. And in English, we use it. Okay, that little general word, but there are a lot of other pronouns. So as it stood in for that word coffee, once I established we were talking about coffee, I can use it to refer back to that word. If I just walked into the room and say, hey, I have it, your first question would be, what's it, right? I can't just throw out the word it without first establishing the thing I'm talking about, okay? Otherwise people say, I don't know what you mean. What's it referring to? So in order to be able to use these little pronouns, we have to talk about the item, the thing, or the person we're referring back to first. And then we can later refer back to that person so that we don't have to keep repeating their name or repeating the name of that noun over and over again. And that is the trick. Okay. Oop, I'm trying to get here we go. We're going to show you a little bit of what that is talking about. We'll watch a little video with it as well, and then we're going to practice with it and with the verbs that have that actually take. Oh wait, can you see my screen? It says, why do direct object pronouns matter? Can you see that? No. I've got to do a stop share and go back to it then. I see what I did here. Una vez más. One more time. We're going to try this. Got to get all my screen set up here. Okay. Ahora, now it will let me do the magic thing. Okay. A ver. Let's take a look. But why do these things even matter? And you're going to get, you don't need to take copious notes unless you just need a couple scribbled notes, because you'll get all the links to this later on. Why do direct object pronouns even matter? Direct objects receive the action conveyed by the verb. Okay, they do not do the action. Okay, doing the action is the job of the subject. Right? I read books, I watch a program, I am doing it. But the program receives that, what are you watching? Very often, this in a back and forth conversation, you use pronouns to refer back to the direct object. And once you know what that direct object is, using a pronoun keeps the conversation shorter and more efficient, okay, and less redundant. And we do this all the time without even thinking about it in English, less repetitious. So, por ejemplo, you say to somebody, oh, wow, I forgot the name of the bakery. Well, we're talking about a bakery, right? Do you know it? Right. If I just turned to you and say, do you know it? You don't know, you have no point of reference, right? We have to be talking first about, oh, I forgot the name of the bakery. And now you automatically know that it is talking about the name of the bakery, right? No, I don't remember it. Because we wouldn't say, do you know the name of the bakery? I don't remember the name of the bakery. You don't want to keep saying the name of the bakery or even the bakery. So we keep referring to that information with the word it. Okay. So we're going to take a look soon at what all those little words are, but you have to know that certain verbs will naturally need a direct object or take a direct object. And this is why I had you look at all the words from this book, all the verbs. So we're going to first, before we wade into that pool of pronouns, take a look at what kinds of verbs might take a direct object or might need a direct object. They might need a different noun to receive the action. And these are just some that were listed in your book, right? They abrazar, to hug, acompañar, to accompany or go along with, amar, to love. Usually this is used in a more romantic kind of sense. Romantic love and friend or family love are often seen as two different things. Ayudar, to help, besar, to kiss, buscar, to look for. And it's important that that word for is included within the verb. You don't need an extra word for when you use buscar. Conocer, to know a person or to be familiar with a place. Cuidar, to take care of, to care for somebody. Dejar, to leave a person or a thing behind. Not to leave, like walk out of a house or walk out of a room. That's salir. But dejar actually is one of those verbs, like llevar, has many different meanings. In this sense, we're going to be using it as dejar, to leave something behind. Encontrar and hallar, they are synonyms. They mean the same thing. Encontrar means to find. Hallar, and we don't pronounce the H, that means also to find. Escuchar, to listen to, and the to is included in the verb. It is built into the verb. Esperar, to wait for, or it can mean to hope, or it can mean to expect. We're going to use it in the sense of to wait for. Like you wait for the bus, you wait for your kids, you wait for your neighbor, something like that. Extrañar, to miss a person or a thing. I miss eating out. I miss my friend who lives in California, right? Not to miss the bus, meaning you didn't catch it. Or I missed the plane, you didn't get on the plane. But to miss a person or to miss a thing, okay? We've got some other verbs here like gritar, to yell at, to scream at. Invitar, to invite, a nice cognate. Llamar, to call. We use it as me llamo, my name is, but we can also use it to talk about calling somebody with a phone or calling somebody that way, right? Just shouting out their name. Llevar, to carry, transport, take along, or wear clothing. Matar, to kill, yikes. Mirar, to look at, to watch. Querer, to want. It can be used with to love also. Recoger, to pick up. You know, literally pick something up, like off the floor or off of a table. To collect stuff, collect something. To gather it. Recoger. Saludar, think of salute. When we say saludar, it means you greet somebody. Ver, to see. And we often use this, especially in Mexico, this is a very popular word to use for watching a show, like watching a movie or watching a TV program, even though ver technically means to see. And visitar, to visit. Okay. So first, you're going to get this as a little exercise to review, or maybe we'll look at it a little bit later. This is something, we'll preview this because these look very small. Am I correct? This is very small. Okay. So what you're going to do for homework is you're going to see if you can match up the photo with the verb. Test yourself. And you'll click on the two that match. So I'm just going to click on a really obvious one. I'm going to click on the Uncle Sam who says, I want you. And I'm going to click on querer. And it'll give you two, yes, these matched up. If they don't match up, I think they go into red. Okay. But you'll see it'll be obvious. It'll flash as you get the combinations correct. So, and you're going to get a second page with that. So again, we're going to take a really obvious one of this guy looks like he's in big trouble and he needs help. So I'm going to guess that means ayudar, to help. And yes, they'll match up. So later on, when you go into homework, you're going to match up the meanings of those verbs, because this is the vocabulary part where we make sure you understand what the action is and what the word for that action is, okay? Just the verbs themselves, okay? Yeah. Okay. All right, we're gonna bring up a little whiteboard now. We're gonna bring up a little whiteboard. You do understand what receives action means, right? Bien? Okay. Fantástico. Vamos a ver. Let's, is it showing you the board now? I've got it, I think on the wrong, you can't see the board, yes? See? Bien, everybody can see the board? Bien, okay, thumbs up. I asked because it's popping up on my screen in different ways. Okay. Wait, we're going to take a look at what these little pronouns are that we're going to work with today. Okay. And these are going to be things that are complementos. Complementos, that's the word for an object. Complementos directos. Complementos directos, and these are what receives the action, not does the action. So sometimes I might receive the action, like I might ask, will you call me tomorrow? Will you call me tomorrow? And I'm saying that you're doing the calling, but you're going to call me, right? So the word for doing something to me is me. Yay. The word for doing something to us is nos. The word for doing something something to you perdón, is te. If it's a familiar you, right? If we were in Spain, this is the only place they would use this word, it would be os, the plural of te. The plural of te. They don't use this word in Mexico or Latin America. Here's what we will use a lot. Lo. Now, lo can mean a number of things. Lo can refer to a person. So it can mean him. Because you're looking at that o at the end and you're thinking masculine, right? So lo can mean him. However, if you're talking about a masculine gender thing, like libro, lo can also mean it. So lo will mean him or it. Or it can also mean you, meaning the formal you, like for usted, okay? So I'm going to put my usted in there. Whoops. Wait, I can't get my, okay. Lo, him, it, or formal you. Okay. So we're going to have a plural of this, right? Los will mean them or you all, you guys. Okay, so this is going to be what we use for you guys. And then we're going to need a feminine form, a la, which will mean her, or it might mean it for a feminine thing, or it might be you, usted, a lady who is you, right? And we're going to have a feminine form, las, which again will mean them, but it will mean them for a group of women or girls, or it will mean them for a group of feminine things, something that is plural, right? It can also be you all, but it's only going to be, you know, feminine if it's all a group of ladies. So very, very specific. So complementos directos, me, te, nos. Me, te, nos don't get gender. They don't need gender, right? Because they're referring to people. Me, te, nos don't need masculine, feminine. But lo and la, we need the gender, right? Los and las, we need the gender. Okay, so very specific thing. Where do these go? In English, we say something like, I'm calling you later, right? And the later just tells when, but I'm calling, I'm doing the calling. Who am I calling? I'm calling you. And later just tells when I'm doing it. Okay. And now you might think, okay, I'm calling is llamo, right? I can say yo llamo, I can, I don't have to. Most people won't bother with the yo, llamo, I'm calling. All right, now in English, here's where the word order becomes a sticking point. Your English brain wants to say, I'm calling you, I'm calling you, I'm calling you. But in Spanish, it can't be that. It's got to be you, I'm calling, you, I'm calling. That's the word order they need to use. Te llamo, te llamo. Te llamo más tarde. Oop, and I've got to get my accent mark keyboard up. Te llamo más tarde. Te llamo más tarde. Te llamo más tarde. If I want to say, I'm calling him later, the word order is going to be him I'm calling. Him I'm calling. ¿Cómo se dice I'm calling him? I can't use te now.
Lo
Lo llamo. Lo llamo más tarde. Obviously, I can't say I'm calling us. That won't make any sense. Ladies are having coffee together, talking about, oh, my daughters are at their friend's house. Shoot, they're late, they're really late. They're supposed to be home. I'm going to call them. And we're talking about the girls. I'm going to call them. It needs to become
Las.
Las llamo más tarde. Okay, do you see where this is going? Okay. So we can't think I'm calling you. We've got to rewire our brains to get the word order right, okay? Usually, generally, these object pronouns are going to be in front of the verb, okay? There are situations where they get tagged on. I'm going to show you very briefly, but there's no way you're going to memorize all of these. Just so that, like in that video, when you review the video, you may want to know that this order is normal in different situations, okay? The situation we're talking about now is just this plain old sentence where we're talking about somebody doing something in the present, or it could be in the past, but in this case, because we know present tense, in the present. If we've got a situation where there's a command, because you heard the guy in the video saying, tell me all about it, tell me. And tell me isn't saying you're doing it. He's saying he wants you to do this action of telling, right? So that idea of tell is a command. If I say, for example, I'm talking about these gals, and you say to your friend, oh, call them, call your daughters. Now it's not saying as a fact, you are calling your daughters. You're telling your friend, well, go ahead and call them. Go ahead and call them is what they call a command. Here's a command. Llama is the command. When I got an affirmative command saying, hey, go do it, we tag it on to the end of the command. Llámalas, call them. It needs an accent mark, but you don't really need to know why yet. That's for later in like the last 15 minutes. Llámalas, call them. Oh, you want to say to a friend, hey, call me. Call me. Here's a command. Llámame, llámame. Let's see if you can guess. How do we say call us?
Llámanos.
Llámanos. So with a command that's affirmative, attach it. We attach the pronoun if it's an affirmative command. Okay. Now the reason I tell you this is that quite often these words, me, que, nos, lo, la, los, las, these words often get thrown around a lot in commands. Hey, look at me. Hey, look at that. Hey, do you see it? Right? We're asking questions, but sometimes I say it as, hey, look at that. Look at it. Look at me. Right? And then they're commands. With an affirmative command, we attach it. But usually the big deal is we don't attach it. In a regular statement of fact, just saying this thing is happening, we don't attach it. A command is not a statement of fact. I might say call them, but you don't really know if that person is going to call or not. Call them is telling them to do it, but it doesn't mean it's happening now, right? As you all know, you tell your kids, clean your room, and it's not happening yet, right now. But it's an order. Okay, so with an affirmative order, we do attach it. When we're just talking about a fact, a statement of fact that somebody is doing something, we put it in front. We don't attach it. And that is the part that is hard, hard, hard. Here's the part that is hard, 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 because the word order is not what we do in English. Now I'm going to show you one other thing. With an affirmative command, we do attach. With a negative command, we go back to this situation of stick it in front of the verb. So let's say, again, the ladies are talking about, oh, my daughters, they're at their girlfriend's house. They're at their friend's house. It's getting late. It's getting late. I'm going to call them. And your friend says, oh, call them, a command. But what if she says, what a worrywart you are. Quit worrying about it. Don't call them. Don't stalk them. Don't watch every single thing they do. If it's a negative command, we go back to this order of in front of the verb. No las llames. No las llames is a command. No las llames, don't call them. So a negative command, pronoun goes back in front of the verb. So what you want to think of for this lesson is that these little pronouns, me, te, nos, lo, la, los, and las, They're going to go in front of the verb, in front of the verb, in front of the verb. We only attach them in specific situations. We attach them when we've got a command that's a do it command, but we don't attach it when it's a don't do it command. They come back up in front of the verb. No las llames. And that's it. It must be that way. The words must be in that order. Now, you might say, oh my gosh, now I am feeling it's getting worse. Not only do I have to remember verbs, I got to know where all these darn words go. Where did all these words go? Okay. Will somebody understand me if I mess up and I get the words in the wrong order? Okay. Let's think about that. Will you understand me if I say, oh, them I see every day? Do you understand that? Them I see every day. You kind of get it, but does it sound weird to you? It sounds weird. Them I see every day. You probably get it, but you miss a little beat, right? It's something you got to think about harder because you're wrapping your mind around why did they say it that way? Okay, that's how it's going to sound to somebody who's a native Spanish speaker. If you get the words out of order, will they understand you? They probably will, but they're going to have to work harder to think about what you told them because it's going to sound out of sync, right? If you get the word out of order. Is it the end of the world for, no. Okay, Suwai, tienes una pregunta.
The negative command, llames, is that always, why is it the?
That is, isn't, oh shoot, yeah. That's what a negative command does. Llames doesn't look like, wait a minute, different vowel. Llama, llames. Ah, shoot. Yes. Yeah, I know. That's why we're not wading too far in. But so often you hear people, and in that video, cuéntamelos. Tell me about them. We do this all the time, right? So, okay, very, very briefly, when else can we attach? And we won't practice this yet today. When else can we attach these object pronouns? Just so you know, because you will hear people doing this. The other times you can do that is when you've got just the infinitive, llamar. So, those things that we had two verbs next to each other, right? I'm going to show you a couple of situations of that. Llamar. Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm going to call them. ¿Cómo se dice I'm going to call? I'm going to call. I haven't done it yet. I'm going to call.
Voy a llamar.
Voy a llamar. Voy a llamar. Voy a llamar. Voy a llamar. And because I've got an infinitive, llamar, I can tag that los, or in this case, we're talking about the girls, right? So las. Voy a llamarlas. I can do that. However, I have a choice. If I've got the infinitive, I can say voy a llamarlas, or it's okay to say it this way. Las voy a llamar. Both ways are correct. When I have a verb and an infinitive, I can tag it on to the end of the infinitive, llamar. I can also put it back up in the original position that's considered correct in front of the verb but the verb in this case is voy. Las voy a llamar, or let's change it around to quiero llamar. I want to call. I want to call them, quiero llamarlas. Or it's equally okay to say it as las quiero llamar. So you don't need to know all of those, but I say it because already in that video, you saw every single one of those situations. Okay. One other situation besides the infinitive. Okay. So we have a situation, an infinitive, you can attach. Also, with this next situation, with an ing verb form, and you don't really know what those are yet, but those are these, ando and yendo. If you have ando or yendo, it means ing. And with ing, we can also attach, or we can put it in front of the first verb, just like in the other one there. So he had a situation in that video where he was using estoy leyendo, or he had something. Anyway, so let's say estoy llamando. I am calling. I could say estoy llamándolas. I could say it that way. I need an accent mark. Estoy llamándolas, or I can say las estoy llamando. Okay, so with infinitives, I can attach with ing. I can choose to attach them, all right? We're not going to practice those today, but because you will hear people using it, I'm just throwing that out, okay? As please know, you may hear people tagging it on to the end of something. It doesn't mean that they're using lousy grammar. It just means they can in those situations. They have a choice with an infinitive, two verbs, in the second verb, the infinitive, they can attach it. They have a choice with the ing situations. They can put it in front of the verb or they can attach it. But the place where they must attach these words me or te or lo or las or, whatever, that's an affirmative command. An affirmative command. So you are going to hear, and you hear people using commands all the time. Take it, buy it, tell me, call me. Those are situations where you hear people using these kinds of pronouns all the time. I'm going to stop and ask if you have any big obvious questions yet. Sí or no? No?
No.
Okay. Ying.
This is Linda. I'm still not understanding why we changed the ending for the negative. Why it was
command? It's just what they do.
So
I will tell you this. A to command, okay, this is going to make it simple because this gets into kind of a great big lesson, but here's a simple rule of thumb. A to command, a command they're giving to you, talking to you on a familiar basis, is going to sound just like the to verb without the S on the end.
okay.
So instead of llamas, it'll be llama, right? Instead of escuchas, escucha. So listen to me is escúchame. Escúchame. They want you to pay attention, right? Escúchame. But a negative command brings that S sound back, but it uses the opposite vowel from what you think should be correct. They switch the vowels on negative commands. Negative commands, switches.
Okay.
That's all you need to know for now.
Okay. Got it.
So it'll sound like they conjugated that wrong. They used the wrong vowel.
Yeah.
They use the opposite vowel system.
Okay. Okay.
AR uses AR verbs. Will use s sounds, and ER and IR verbs will use as sounds for negative commands. That's all you need to know for now. because commands will go into usted commands, ustedes commands, tú commands. Yeah. They're not that hard, but that's not a lesson for today.
Okay, great. Just check it.
Okay, yeah. And that's okay. Now, the reason I kind of dove into those murky waters, because they are murky, is that in that little 2-minute conversation, you already had a verb with an infinitive, you had an estoy and a leyendo, you had, and you had commands, tell me. And this is the way people talk all the time, all right? So we're gonna watch a little video now that's gonna like go into the normal, just what are these pronouns and where do we put them and why do we need them? And this just kind of helps to reinforce the pattern. Again, you're going to get this this video built into the module I will send you after class.
Hola amigos, welcome back. Welcome to another episode of the Language Tutor. So glad you're with me today. On this lesson of the Language Tutor, friends, I want to introduce to you direct object pronouns in Spanish, okay? Now, you might be saying, what's a direct object? What's a direct object pronoun? I know if you're like some people, it's hard to remember those things. Maybe if it's been a while since we were in English class in high school or middle school, whatever. So sometimes we don't exactly always remember all these things. So I'm going to give you a quick little rundown of it. And you know what? I also heard people say to me many times, they say, I learned more about English grammar in foreign language class than I did in English class. And I'm going to tell you, that was definitely the case for me in taking French. I learned so much about English grammar in French class and in Spanish too. So if you didn't catch it in English, no big deal. We're going to get it right now. So first of all, what is a direct object? Okay. It's really easy to find the direct object in a sentence by simply looking for the verb and then putting the word what after that verb. Now I'll show you what I mean. Let's put up a sentence in English right here on the screen for you. I received a letter. Okay, I received a letter. What's the verb there? Obviously it's received. Now, say the verb with the word what after it. Received what? Well, the answer to that question is our direct object, letter. So letter is the direct object. Okay, so if you say the verb and the word what, it's going to tell you what the direct object is. Let's try another one. We sent the money. We sent the money. Okay, sent is our verb, so say sent what? The money. That's our direct object. All right, let's do one more. John hit the ball. John hit the ball. Our verb is hit. Say hit what? The answer is the ball. The ball is the direct object. Okay, so that's how we find the direct object. Okay, now a pronoun replaces a noun. Okay, so we're going to replace the direct object with another word, a pronoun. Okay, let's think about the one we did a while ago. I received a letter. Okay, we know that letter is the direct object because we took the verb and we said the word what after it. We said received what? The answer was the letter. So that tells us that letter is the direct object. Now, if you were speaking English, let's think about this in natural conversation. Did you receive the letter? You would say, yes, I received. What word would replace letter? You wouldn't necessarily say, yes, I received the letter. You might, but if you wanted to replace it with something shorter, you would say, I received it. So it replaces the direct object. So it is a direct object pronoun. There you go. Now let's look at that next one we did. We sent the money, okay? Did we send the money? Yes, we sent it, okay? John hit the ball. John hit it. Okay, now let's think about something plural really quick. Did we receive the letters? Look at this question. Did we receive the letters? And how would we answer that? Yes, we received them. Them. So them is a direct object pronoun as well. So basically what we can say so far is that when we're using it or them as direct object pronouns, well, they can serve as direct object pronouns, it and them. We need to use the same thing in Spanish, a direct object pronoun. That's simple. All right, so I bet you got it figured out already. So let's talk about how would we do direct object pronouns in Spanish. In other words, how would we say it or them? That's what we're going to do in this lesson today. Here comes the chart. Y'all knew it was coming. All right, here's the chart, and let's put our direct object pronouns on the chart. First of all, the top left, we're going to put the word me. Me. Now, can a person be a direct object? Absolutely, sure can. Okay, so I might be the direct object sometimes. So we're going to say me if I'm the direct object. And we're going to say te if you're the direct object, the tu form. And now down here in the bottom left, the its, its are always third person, okay? We're going to put lo and la. Now I would use lo if I'm talking about an it that's masculine, like who has the book? Oh, I have it. See, book in Spanish is masculine. So we would use lo to say it. Now la is going to replace a feminine noun, okay? Same thing as we did with lo, but it's the feminine. Now, let's go to the top right. Us, something was done to us. We're the direct object. It would be nos. Now, in Spain, if something was done to you plural, y'all, as we say in the South sometimes, you all are the direct object, os. And then on the bottom right, we're going to put los and las. Now, los and las mean, in this context with direct objects, they mean them. Okay, so los would be, we're talking about them plural masculine. Las, we're talking about them plural feminine. All right. Now let's see how to do this in context. Let's go back to that book we talked about a while ago. I have the book. Okay, now, you say, I have the book. And somebody says, who has it? And you say, I have it. Okay, I have it. So it is going to be lo because book is the word it's replacing. Book is singular and it's masculine. So we're going to use lo. Now it's going to go in front of the verb. It's going to look like this. Lo tengo. Lo tengo. It I have, because it goes in front of the verb. Now, it doesn't really make sense to say tengo lo. That doesn't work in Spanish. It does in English, not in Spanish. So lo tengo. I have it. All right. Let's try one with something feminine. She has the pen. She has the pen. Now remember, pen in Spanish is la pluma. La pluma, it's feminine. Okay, who has it? She has it. So let's think about how we would say she has it. Now we can write ella if we want to. We don't have to, but we can. Ella. And then it is going to be la, and it's going to go in front of the verb. So it's going to be ella la tiene. Ella la tiene. All right? Now do the same thing with plural. Who has them? If I wanted to say who has the pens? Who has the pens? He has them. He has them. Él las tiene. The tiene still goes with he. He has. So we have to conjugate it with he still. But we're going to just change this to las because he has them. And guys, that's how we do indirect object pronouns in Spanish. So let's start thinking.
Okay. A ver. So that breaks it down for, in front of the verb, in front of the verb, in front of the verb, right? Bien? Okay. And tener is one of the easiest things to use that with because I have it, you know, call too. Llamar uses it or them or call me or whatever it may be. Bien. Okay. ¿Tienen preguntas? Do you have any questions about that? ¿Sí o no? No? Okay. We're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to practice that more. In a bit, like right now. And you're going to see like the back and forth, back and forth. Okay. We're going to check out what that looks like in a conversation. And remember, in a conversation, these little words come after we establish what we're talking about. After we establish. This is an exercise you're going to do again later on your own. Okay, you'll do this again on your own later on. I can't make that much bigger. Can you see that pretty clearly or is it super small? On your screen, it will look bigger than it looks on Zoom. If somebody says, ¿Quieres el vino tinto? Do you want the red wine? Vino tinto, I know, tinto doesn't look like red, but that's the term they use for red wine, like versus white wine, right? ¿Quieres el vino tinto? And you want to say, no, I don't want it. Nope, I don't want it. You're probably not going to repeat the red wine again. Do you want the red wine? I don't want the red wine. You're going to say it. Which little word down here at the bottom is going to replace el vino tinto? Lo. Okay, so what you're going to do when you come back to this exercise later is you're going to put this back up. You're going to pop the correct pronoun into that place so that you won't have to decide what order do I put them in. You know, there'll only be one place you can put it in for now because you're learning where to put that. This is not a natural place for us to put the word it. No, it, I want. Isn't natural to your English thinking brain. Okay. ¿Ves esos edificios grandes? Do you see those big buildings? Do you see those big buildings? And you might say, oh yeah, I see them. I see them. What word is going to have to replace edificios grandes?
Los.
Los. Sí, los veo. Okay. We're back to calling your daughters. ¿Llamas a sus hijas? Are you calling your daughters? Oh, yep, I'm going to call them. We have to think of a word that's going to replace a sus hijas.
Las.
Las llamo, okay? ¿Me entiendes? Do you understand me? And somebody says, no, I don't understand you. No.
Hey. No te.
Hey.
And remember, you're answering that person. Do you understand me? Oh, no, I don't understand you. No te entiendo. No te entiendo. Te ayudo. Here's something people often say if they wonder if you are stuck and you need help. Te ayudo. Shall I help you? Oh, no, gracias. No.
Me.
No me ayudes. No, don't help me. Está bien. It's okay. No me ayudes. No me ayudes. Don't help me. And yet, yes, that's a command. So it looks like it's got a wrong conjugation for an ayudar, an AR verb. But it's a negative no command. No me ayudes. Don't help me. ¿Compran ustedes la camiseta roja? Are you guys buying the red t-shirt? Yep, we're buying it. La compramos. It, we're buying. La compramos. Okay. ¿Tiene usted el boleto? Do you have the ticket? Nope. I don't have it.
No lo.
No.
No lo tengo. Oh, and I forgot to put the last one in. I got to go change that. Necesita usted ayuda? Do you need help? And here help is not a verb. It is just the noun meaning help. Necesita usted ayuda? Do you need help? Nope, I don't need it. No,
La.
la necesito. No la necesito. No la necesito. No, no la necesito. Okay. ¿Conoces a estos hombres? Do you know these men?
Sí, los conozco.
Los conozco. Oops, momento. I didn't get it centered just right. It flies away if you don't center it exactly right. Sí los conozco. Sí los conozco. Okay. And I forgot and didn't blank out my last word. I might have had to like draw it down. Yeah, I didn't see that. So I'm going to have to go back and fix that. So you're going to redo that little exercise later on. Okay. You're going to redo that. So these are little ways we can use these pronouns, and we're going to practice these for a couple of weeks because it's not that it's so tough to learn how to say me or te or nos or lo or la or los or las. It's tough to know where to put that word because it's not a natural word order for English speakers. It's a very unnatural word order for us. ¿Está bien? We good? Bien? Okay. Okay. We're going to go back a little bit to this a personal. And wow, I'm sorry, this took longer than I thought, but that's okay. Everything in good time. I'm going to make my next screen a little bit bigger here, a lot bigger, and we're going to share this. We're going to now, we're not totally getting away from the subject of direct objects, but we're going back to a little bit of review of when direct objects are people. Okay, this is something we worked on last week. When direct objects are human beings. And when direct objects are human beings, and we're not using a pronoun, okay, not using a pronoun, we need a special little word that doesn't translate. Anybody remember what that special little word is? It's just right. Okay, so we're going to work on this together. And next week, you're going to work it more in pairs. But today we're working this just together here. Okay. And we're going to work these verbs. These are the verbs you're going to match up to make sure you know what the meanings are. And we're going to work just on the a personal, not yet on the me, te, nos, lo, la, los, las. We're going to work just on the a personal. Okay. And we're going to insert we're going to complete the sentences. We're going to insert something into the sentence. And these are going to be verbs that take a direct object. Now you might decide to complete the sentence with a direct object that's a human being, in which case you need the extra word You might choose to complete the sentence with a thing, in which case you will not need the word okay? So we're going to review that a little bit. Siempre abrazo, abrazo. Siempre abrazo. I always hug.
Mi esposa.
Okay, my wife. ¿Cómo se dice? I always hug my wife.
Mi esposa.
But I can't just say mi esposa.
Mi esposa.
Perfecto, Carlos. Carlos, repite por favor otra vez.
Siempre abrazo a mi esposa.
Es perfecto. Siempre abrazo a mi esposa. You must have that little word on there because it sounds weird to them if you don't. Siempre abrazo a mi esposa. What if I want to say I hug my dog? What if you say I hug my dog?
Mi perro.
a mi perro, you are probably going to use the a there, even though perro no es un humano. He's not a human, but our pets are part of our families. So we do, with animals that we live with, okay, we do refer to them with an a personal. You know, the cows walking out in the fields, no. But your dog, your cat, your bird, I assume you don't hug your fish. Yeah, but yeah, there we go. Okay. Muchas veces esperamos. Many times we wait for
El correo.
un caballo, a horse.
No, el correo. Correo. Mail. Correo.
Correo.
Male.
Mail. El correo.
I said all
Oh,
cartero. So the postman.
oh,
El
okay.
correo.
Oh, okay. Okay. We wait for the mailman.
What would be the mail though? Just
Cartero. Esperamos al cartero. Carta is a letter, cartero. The guy who carries it. ¿Cómo se dice? And we would need an a. ¿Cómo se dice we're waiting for the bus?
el autobús.
And we don't need an a there because, right, autobús is not a person. Esperamos
el autobús.
el autobús. So you see the difference. Sometimes we need an a and sometimes not, okay? So we're going back and practicing this idea from last week. Los voluntarios ayudan. Volunteers help.
A los pacientes a sus habitaciones.
A los pacientes en sus habitaciones. Los voluntarios ayudan a los pacientes. Los voluntarios ayudan a los pacientes en sus habitaciones, in their rooms. You're just telling. And you know, we could shorten it and just say a los pacientes, the patients, right? Los voluntarios ayudan a los pacientes. Los voluntarios ayudan a los pobres. The volunteers help the poor people, a los pobres. ¿Cómo se dice? They help the kids, the little kids. Ayudan
A los niños.
Los chicos.
a los niños, a los chicos, you know, whichever words you use for kids, right? Ayudan a los niños. We need an a, because we're talking about people here, okay? Las madres acompañan.
A sus niños a la escuela.
Perfecto, me gusta. A sus niños. A la escuela, right? You might tell where. Acompañan a sus niños o a sus chicos, a sus muchachos a la escuela. Bien. Ok. Me gusta. Extraña. Misses, meaning you feel the loss of this person or thing. Mi amigo extraña
A su mascota.
a su
Mascota.
mascota. Extraña a su mascota. My friend misses his pet. And we will use the a, even though it's not a human, because his pet, he loves him. Yeah. Mi amigo extraña a su mascota. How about your friend has turned vegetarian, but he really misses meat. He really misses meat.
Extraña.
He's crying hard. Mi amigo extraña
Carne.
la carne.
La carne.
la carne. Now, meat, he misses meat. He feels its loss. He wants meat. His wife has been vegetarian for years, and he has promised to turn vegetarian, right? And oh my God, he misses meat. Okay? Extraña la carne. We don't need an A. But extraña a su mascota, we need an A. Bien? Los jóvenes miran. Los jóvenes, these are teenagers or kids people in their 20s. Okay? Los jóvenes miran.
La ropa en la tienda.
La ropa en la tienda. Yeah, they're checking it out. Los jóvenes miran la ropa. They're looking at clothing. Okay. Miran la ropa en la tienda. Wait a minute. What if they're looking at pretty girls? Los jóvenes.
Miren a las muchachas.
Muy bien. A las muchachas. Bonitas. A las muchachas bonitas. Los jóvenes miran a las muchachas bonitas. A las muchachas bonitas. Ropa, we don't need an A. Muchachas bonitas, we need an A. Bien. Ok. Las maestras en la escuela primaria. Escuela primaria is elementary school. Yeah? Okay. Cuidan. They take care of.
A los estudiantes.
A los estudiantes. Cuidan a los estudiantes. Okay. Bien. Okay.
I had a question on.
Sí, dime.
If you have two persons, like you say, they take los niños y los niños y niñas. Do you do another a in front of the niñas?
Often they will.
Okay.
They might drop it, but often they will. And if they're talking about like the boys and girls, we just use that masculine word for all of them. They will very seldom separate that unless they mean like to separate like, boy group versus girl group, like they're in a game against each other or something like that. Generally, when we talk about both sexes together as a large group, then it will be just that masculine term.
But if you use like names like Ashley and Casey?
Sí, a Ashley y a Casey.
Okay.
Sí. Buena pregunta. Tienes buena pregunta. These are good questions. Okay. Los sábados vemos. On Saturdays, we see.
A los tres chiflados.
A los tres chiflados. Explica, por favor. ¿Qué son chiflados?
The three Stooges.
Okay.
They're on every Saturday at 5 o'clock.
I had to have you give that for the rest of it because they won't know what chiflados are. A los tres chiflados. And I should capitalize that. Sí, es algo formal, ¿no? A los tres chiflados. Okay. Los sábados vemos, and let's put that in, because you're going to use this later for some homework. Okay. Stooges. Okay. Maybe we want to just say we see our friends. Vemos our friends.
Los amigos.
And we'll probably put our, a nuestros
amigos.
Amigos, bien. Maybe, like Marianne may say, we see, vemos a Juan y a Marta. ¿Ves? Bien, you see? Okay, two names. Yeah, we'll stick our A's in there. Vemos a Juan y a Marta.
Marilyn?
Sí.
I have a question.
Sí.
So, the Three Stooges is a movie name. Is it considered a Personal.
And that will depend. If you're talking about them, the people, then it will be an a. If it's the program, then probably not. But if it's the people, because it's a people term, yeah, I threw it in there. Yeah, that's a little tricky because that's kind of a special situation. Let's say we watch Netflix. Vemos. Los sábados vemos.
Vemos Netflix.
Yeah, it would just be Netflix, right? Vemos Netflix. O, por ejemplo, vemos programas en Netflix. Bien? See? Okay. And you'll notice I'm leaving this all up because you're going to be doing this come homework time. El jefe busca. El jefe busca. The boss, let's say the boss is looking for Joe. El jefe busca
A Joe.
a José. El jefe busca a José. Busca a José. Bien? The boss is looking for the money. El jefe busca
Dinero.
Dinero.
el dinero. The boss is looking for the money. The boss is looking for the boxes. El jefe busca las cajas. Bien? Okay?
Una pregunta.
Sí, sí.
Let's say he's looking for some good workers. So it would be algunos buenos trabajadores. No,
sí.
No.
They might drop the if it's a very vague situation. Yeah, that's kind of a special situation. It's referring to employment, and it's referring to he doesn't know who he's going to hire yet. They might drop the then. But if he's looking for like the really hard workers in his store that he already knows versus the lazy guy, the chiflados who are, you know, the clowns out in the back. Yeah, then he's going to use the a personal. Yeah. Okay. Un ejemplo más. One more example before I explain your homework. I'm going a little over. No conocemos. We don't know.
Nada.
We don't know. Oh, but we can't use nada because that would be nothing. We use conocer for people or for places.
Vecinos.
No conocemos a los vecinos. We don't know the neighbors. ¿Cómo se dice we don't know anybody? Like you walked into a room and shoot, 50 people here. I feel terrible. I don't know one single person. No conocemos
A nadie.
a nadie. And notice, even though nobody is sort of this faceless thing, right? Nadie refers to a human being. So we do need to use the a. No conocemos a nadie. No conocemos a nadie. No conocemos a nadie. No conocemos a ese señor. We don't know that man. No conocemos a ese señor. No conocemos a ese hombre. No conocemos a esa mujer. We don't know that woman. Bien? Okay? ¿Tiene pregunta? You have a question on this before we leave? Because this will be involved with your homework.
We don't know the president. The al, does that become al?
It does. No conocemos al presidente.
Okay.
No conocemos al presidente. Sabemos el nombre del presidente. We know the name. That's just information. Sabemos el nombre del presidente, pero no conocemos al presidente. No conocemos personalmente al presidente. Bien?
Mhm.
Perfecto. Okay. You are going to, as the very last piece of your homework, you will get this in a not 18 font, but in a readable font just for your computer. You're going to get this in a smaller font. You're going to take these things and you're going to convert them into some pronouns. Okay? You're going to, and I will do the first one when I send this out to you. I will do the first one as an example for you. But you're going to take all these little examples and you're going to turn them from phrases with "a" or phrases without an "a." And I'll probably even change a couple of things just to make sure I blend out the examples. You're going to change them into pronouns, okay? Before you go out and do that, you're going to look at the whole Nearpod lesson, okay? So before you do that, you're going to get the whole Nearpod lesson. Nearpod lesson is going to cover the a personal. It's going to cover what direct objects are. It will have the video built in. And so you're going to have very little easy examples where you can just plug something in, okay? Pardon. You will take those sentences we worked on and you're going to change them into, from a whole phrase into shortening it into a pronoun that gets rid of the direct object pronoun. And you'll notice the direct object pronoun, the lo, la, los, las, or metenos, it completely gets rid of that human being or that thing. Yeah. It gets rid of everything that refers to that thing. So I'll show you in the first example how that will work, right? And these are all things to shorten our communication. So you're going to primarily work on that. You're also going to get, and then you'll end up with these sentences we last worked on. You are also going to get some questions to prep to use in back and forth practice next week in small groups. But these will be conversational things where you'll say things like, gee, do you have the itinerary? Oh, no, I forgot it. No, I don't have it. Or yes, I have it. Okay. And that's going to be the hardest level, but we're going to do that after we review everything else where it's easier, right? ¿Está bien? ¿Tienen preguntas o no tienen preguntas? And I'm so sorry, I did not get to my accent marks. So we
Una
will...
pregunta. KS2 fondo.
¿Qué es tu?
Fondo, your background on your screen.
Oh, la foto aquí. La foto aquí es una calle en la ciudad de Toledo. En la ciudad de Toledo. Toledo es una ciudad muy vieja. Está cerca de Madrid, en España. Y es el viejo capital. It is the old capital before Madrid was the capital. This is an old thing, and this is exactly how wide the streets really are in Toledo. Las calles son muy estrechas. They are very narrow. Son las calles de Toledo. Es una ciudad medieval. Es una ciudad medieval. It is a truly medieval city. There are very few parts of the city that are even have a wide street. There are some, but not too many. Es una ciudad medieval. Gracias. Okay. ¿Está bien? ¿Está bien? Bueno, okay. I think that will be enough. If you did not read the Girl Scouts galletas, Girl Scout cookies, I think about 5 or 6 of you did. And so those of you, that part you don't have to do. If you didn't do it, do go read it. You are going to see at least one instance where you see a direct object pronoun. At least one. So go back and I will send that link out again in case you ignored it because you had too much to do. And I'm sorry we didn't get to our accent marks, but you saw when I attached some pronouns that you saw way back that I attached some pronouns. And when that happens, often we wind up having to put in an accent mark. When you speak, that doesn't matter, right? But when you read it, that's when the accent marks kind of matter for the reading, okay? Eso es todo, that's it. ¿Está bien? Entonces, espero que ustedes tengan buena semana, una semana fantástica. I hope you guys have a great week. Y que todo les vaya bien. I hope everything goes well for you.
Gracias.
Tú también.
Adiós.
Fue un placer. Hasta
Gracias.
lunes, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Bien.